Everyone, we're going to wait just another 2 minutes to get started, just so everyone has some time to get in. Let's see who we have already. Pamela is here. Hi, Pamela. Sabrina, Steve, thanks for joining us today. Just going to give people a couple more minutes. Hi, Sabrina. Sabrina's using the chat, everybody. So if you haven't joined us on a presentation before, we use Demio and we have our chat off to the side. You're more than welcome to type something to the entire group, or you can send messages to just one person by using the @ symbol. We'll give it one more minute. I always feel like I need some good elevator music during this time.
Oh yeah, it's always that the awkward moment of silence while we wait for everybody to join.
Yeah.
Totally.
Hello from Ohio. Whereabouts in Ohio are you, Steve? Delaware, Ohio. Nice. All right, we've passed the 2-minute mark, and that's usually when I like to go ahead and get started. For people who have not joined us yet, they will get the replay of this video. You who are here will also get the replay if you want to look back at anything. Welcome to Partner Meet Week. We are just taking this week to meet some of the partners who are really helping WizeCove be a professional network for senior centers. We are really choosy with our partners, making sure that the ones that we are collaborating with are going to be allies and advocates for senior centers as well. So actually, NAAP was our first one. They were the first ones to get on board and be like, yes, we love what you're doing. We love senior centers. We want to be that kind of partner for you guys. So I want to introduce you to NAAP. So if you want to go ahead and share your screen,
Sure.
take it over.
Okay.
I will be here to any questions that come up.
Okay, sounds good. Let me go ahead and get the screen up and running here, and hopefully it's working right and everybody can see it. So my name is Lisa Tagg, and I am the Association Director for the National Association of Activity Professionals, the NAAP. And just to tell you a little bit about myself and my background, I have been doing activities mostly in skilled nursing facilities for a little close to 30 plus years now. I don't like to, once I hit the 30-year mark, I was like, But I've been working in the field of activities since the early 1980s. So I'm probably getting closer to 40 years now, but I love working with the elderly. And so over the course of my career, I have been able to get to the position now where I am a consultant on a personal level, and I actually consult in a variety of settings, which does include the senior center setting. And looking at the different levels of living for elderly now, there's so many options. And so we're really excited to partner with WizeCove to move forward in, this process of working together to improve the engagement experiences that the elders have in the communities, despite what level of community it is. So let me just tell you a little bit about, first and foremost, the National Association of Activity Professionals. We call ourselves NAP, so it makes it a little bit easier than trying to spiel out the entire phrase. But NAP was created back in 1981. So we are working on our 40th anniversary this year to talk about why this was created. So this was created right around the time when nursing homes were going through kind of that reformation type period where they were changing over from being, the type of setting that it was back in the 1970s and the 60s into kind of where it is today. So it was kind of that transitional time when the National Association was created. And then it became this national organization at that point. And we held our first annual conference in 1982. In Chicago, Illinois. So it was kind of more centrally located at that time. And then it has grown into where we are today, where we are a network-based organization that provides educational outreach for activity professionals at all levels of the senior living environment. So we have been able to move past, that skilled nursing facility type environment to include education and ethics and activity competencies and standards, and of course the advocacy that we provide by going into Washington, D.C. to ensure that the professional needs are met. So let's just look at that a little bit more. So that, kind of looks at everything that's happened with the change. One of our founding mothers, as we call her, is Florence Nightingale, and I'm sure you're all familiar with her. And Florence Nightingale really took a lot of time to ensure that engagement was involved in her nursing duties, and everybody that she trained and focused on wanted to be sure too that engagement was used. And she really encouraged, she would say things like a little needlepoint, a little conversation, a little music, a little bit of animal interaction. All of those things are going to benefit the senior. And we know that. We know that as professionals working with the elderly today, we know that everything that we do for them is to provide that type of engagement and that kind of support and everything that we look at that goes along with that aspect of it all. So as we talk about with that, in 1984, we created National Activity Professional Week. And what's really exciting about the National Activity Professional Week is it's a week of recognition for activity professionals on all levels of care as well. And it's actually this month. It actually starts on January 24th. It's usually the fourth week of January. So I'm really excited that, this kind of coincides with everything that WizeCove is doing too, because we look at January as a new year, a fresh start, right? We always do that. And so as activity professionals, it's the same thing where they receive recognition for everything that they do. Usually our busy time of the year, as you all know, is during October, November, and December. And despite, being in a pandemic, as we all are right now, and being kind of at different areas of the country where we may be shut down or we may be limited on how many participants we have in our communities or in our settings, it's still, nice to be able to recognize everybody. And so every organization actually has their day or their week, or I know like National Social Workers, their month is March. And so we see that, activity professionals have this week of recognition where we can just thank them for doing the job that they're doing and providing that engagement and that opportunities for that. And the theme this year is 10,000 possibilities.
I was just
and that
theme,
yeah, the theme is 10,000 possibilities. And the neat thing about that with the theme, and the reason why we chose that theme, was we originally were going to have our annual conference this year was to be in the state of Minnesota. So, with the 10,000 lakes and everything there, so we kind of took the theme and went with 10,000 possibilities. But unfortunately, as the pandemic rages on, we had to, make that ultimate decision to cancel our conference in person. And we've been providing, virtual educational opportunities in its place. But we will be returning to Minnesota, hopefully in April 2022. Hopefully everything will be, taken care of. The vaccines will be administered, and we will see a decline in everybody that's being sadly diagnosed with COVID-19 right now.
So you're not doing a conference in person. Are you
Right.
spreading out those same conference opportunities over a period of time? Are you still
Yes.
having conference week? How's that looking for you?
So we are going to be spreading it out because we know everybody is so busy and it's hard to take a day, especially it's hard to be virtual for an entire day.
Right.
We know that's no fun. So we're going to be doing something every month between March and July. So we'll have something offered every single month, March, April, May, and June and July. So that'll be on our website, and I have our website link at the end, but it's www.naap.info. So that information will be under the education tab on there, where we're going to be offering all of those extra experiences. So we had already selected our speakers, and we had some pre-conferences and some other things happening. And so a lot of those speakers are going to be the ones that'll be participating. So like the max per day, because we do have one in April that's 2 days in a row, but the max is 4 hours each day.
Gotcha.
So hopefully that won't be too long. Just a little, I always worry about how long it is, being virtual.
Yeah.
We're all kind of getting used to that. Or, our bottoms are spreading wider, right? As we sit in the chairs and everything. But obviously too, maybe many of us don't really put pants on anymore. I've seen that many a times, in the various Zoom meetings that I've been in. Somebody goes to stand up or move around, and I'm like, whoops, you got some shorts on there.
Turn off your camera, sure. Fun fact, I am on your education tab right now. For all of you WizeCove people, I'm doing a talk in February on getting seniors to use the technology solutions, digital communities, and things of that nature. It's going to be a really, really good talk.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you join us on that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. So yeah, and so then we move on, as time progressed and as we get closer, into the late 80s here, we found the need for certification. And so NAP created the National Certification Council for Activity Professionals. So NCAP is what we lovingly refer to them. And that became our certifying body. And so they're a separate entity from us, but they do provide the certification needs then. So we provide the education that goes towards that certification with NCAP. So they're kind of our sister community, so to speak, because they provide all the certification options. So many of our professionals are certified through them. NAP's membership is open to all professionals working in, that are working in healthcare in all the levels of care. So not all of our members are certified with NCAP. We have a lot of certified therapeutic recreation specialists, a lot of OTRs, occupational therapy individuals, because the regulations specific for skilled nursing say that a certified occupational therapy assistant or a certified therapeutic recreation specialist or a certified activity professional can run the activities program in a skilled nursing facility. So we always look at the highest, grade, I guess you could say, of services, which is skilled nursing. They're the highest regulated. So we look at that to trickle that down with everything going on. One of the other things that we have developed and created, and these are also available on the website under the membership tab, is a code of ethics and our standards of practice. So our standards of practice really focus on the competencies that are needed for the activity professional to do their job. That seems to have been a really hot topic over the last just 2 years. So now we're up into the 2010s here, where everybody's we need competencies. Our staff need to be competent in what they do. And so we really streamlined those and made them where they are today. They had a big overhaul 2 years ago, and so to get them where they are today. Plus, we include the federal regulations for those that need to follow that. Now, and we have been working with various states that have assisted living regulations in place and independent living regulations, and then all the way down to, adult day health care, and then the senior center community type thing. So we're working with the states to do that, because that's the interesting thing, is that the nursing homes, as I say, they're federally regulated, so that's a national standard, while everything else is left up to the states. So that's where it gets a little tricky too, to ensure that we have all of that information available for anybody, and not just our members, but for anybody that would go to our website that is needing that information. So hopefully we do a decent job of that. But if you see something that is not there, or something you're inquiring about, you can certainly reach out to us, and we can start the legwork to help get that figured out. The neat thing about us is we're the only organization that exclusively represents activity professionals that are working primarily in the geriatric setting. And one of the things that we have been really working on too in the last couple of years, because I told you I work as an independent contracted consultant. I didn't even tell you where I'm from. I was terrible of me. I usually do a better introduction of myself, but I actually live in Las Vegas, Nevada. So we have, obviously we're one of the senior entertainment capitals of the world, so to speak, where we have a lot of senior elderly that retire here and stuff like that. So we have a lot of senior living levels here. We have a lot of them. But we also have really been branching out into the pediatric skilled market. And so I work as an independent contractor. We have 3 communities in our valley right now that are specific for pediatrics. So that's been something new that we're trying to figure out, how can we incorporate more programming ideas and planning and support and advocacy for those professionals that are working in the pediatric side of it. So it's a challenge in itself, because I look at it, I think more recreational therapists should be doing the pediatrics, but we don't have a lot of recreational therapists that work in healthcare. Most of them work like in parks and recreation or other types of environments. So it's really challenging to get those individuals that are licensed in that realm to work in healthcare. I've even said we should hire a special education teacher, for these individuals, because most of our kids are autistic, or they've had fetal alcohol syndrome, or they're gunshot wounds or near drownings, things like that. So they need that extra special care and attention that not always an activity professional that's been focused so much in geriatrics could be able to provide. So that's been a good challenge for me, and it's been a project that I've been working on over the last 5 years to really see how we can, provide more, because there's more pediatric skilled facilities across the nation than you would believe. So it's just interesting to see how that's changed and challenging too with the changes. And the bigger challenge is because they're skilled nursing facilities, they follow the same federal regulations that a geriatric skilled nursing facility follows. So if you read them, their regulations are really geared towards geriatrics. So that's been another thing that I've been trying to work on, is to how can we get a different set of regulations for the pediatrics, because they're not the same.
Yeah, it's really interesting how often we see older adults related to children, or children related to older people. They're very different groups. And so that's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's the thing that I've been really trying to challenge on and look at that. I'm sure many of you, I know this doesn't have anything to do with my presentation, but I'm sure many of you may be familiar with Montessori type education, which is very popular with the children. But that has been something too that the Montessori Center outside of Washington, D.C. has been really promoting more geriatric type levels. And so we've been working on with them as well, with the Montessori Center out in Washington, D.C., to create a program or a certification that's Montessori based for elderly.
Yeah, I've been seeing more of that in dementia settings, for sure.
Absolutely. Yes, for sure. For sure. So let's just look at the benefits that a member would receive if they're a member of NAP. So the NAP membership is $75 a year. But it gives you access to almost every single thing. Well, not almost. It is every single thing on our website. One of the things we do provide is free live online education twice a month. And that's for our members only. So Marie, is going to be doing a presentation for us later on. And that is what that's referred to. But we also take the time then, as Marie would be presenting, we record that. And then it's added to our library of webinars. And we have close to 200 now in our webinar library, and they're all within the last 2 years. That's one of the things that we're really wanting to make sure of, is that continuing education needs to be timely. It needs to be, you know, relevant to where you are. And a lot of our webinars have been in the last year, because when the pandemic hit last March, again, we had to cancel our conference that we had scheduled in April, because well, one, nobody was flying and no hotels were open and anything like that. And for two, obviously, healthcare was hit the hardest, and we knew that would not be an appropriate thing for us to hold that. And so we did webinars for free from April 15th all the way till September 1st. And we offered 2 a week for that entire time span for free to anybody that wanted to join in. So it was really exciting too, because not only did we offer that opportunity, but they were all based on COVID-19. You know, we talked about depression, we talked about programming to do with all the residents being in their rooms, you know, or if you were guests in the independent living, you know, how to handle independent living needs, you know, because a lot of the independent living residents or community guests were able to still come and go depending on that, you know. And the interesting thing is a lot of our communities were hit hard in April, May, and June. And then we kind of had, you know, maybe July and August were light. I know there were communities that were hit there, but now they're getting hit even harder right now as the vaccine is being released, you know. And that's the really sad thing, is like, even these smaller towns, you know, the more rural areas are really getting hit hard now. Like we have like I said, I live in Nevada. And if you're not familiar with the geography of our state, I'm in Las Vegas, which is the southern part of the state. And then we have Reno and Carson City, which is our state capital, that are in the northern part of the state. And then we have nothing in between the two. And it's an 8-hour drive from one end to the other, you know, because we have a lot of government land, you know, a lot of the nuclear testing was done here. And so it's a lot of government dead wasteland. But every so often you'll find these little small, tiny towns that are along that way between the north and the south. And they're the ones that are being hit hard now. And they've had nothing, you know, for that entire 10-month time frame, 8-month time frame. And now they're being hit hard. And so that was one of the things we really wanted to focus on, was good quality education, especially during this time, on how to do things. And now we're looking, now as we're hopefully coming to the end of the pandemic, you know, in the next several months here, we are looking at trauma-informed care. You know, because we're going to have a lot of trauma and nature type things as we come out. People are going to have some PTSD type form of something. So we're wanting to be sure that that education aspect is covered as well. We also support the body of knowledge. Now, the body of knowledge refers to what our certification body has put forth that meets the needs of activity professionals. So all the e-learning and the webinars and the educational offerings that we provide meet that body of knowledge so that they can utilize that. And then the other thing that we've been really working on too, and this is one of our goals in 2021, is to provide supportive services for family members. Because we see, you know, obviously with the pandemic, the transition happened where more and more seniors are now aging in place. Right. And they're not going to be entering into these structured type communities. And that's where the senior centers are going to really see an influx.
Most definitely.
You're going to definitely see an influx. And so we are working on quality services and education for family members now that may be caring for somebody that has dementia or a behavioral mental health issues, because those are really being seen more in the limelight too, you know, with all these challenges and everything. We're just not aging happily, you know, we have all these other conditions that are coming with us too as we age through that. You know, my own mother, she's 84 years old and lives alone still, you know, has her own house. She has a 4-bedroom home that she manages and maintains on a daily basis. And so when I talk with her, you know, of course, when the pandemic happened, she just lives 30 minutes away from me. And when that happened, I was not allowed to come visit her. And I, you know, luckily she'd stocked up on a lot of food and things like that. But between my brother and I, though I have a brother that lives here as well, we were able to like drop food off for her, you know, as time progressed. And she wouldn't even let us, you know, see her. Like we had to leave it on the doorstep and then leave completely before she would open her door to access the items. And that was really hard, you know, to have somebody just kind of feel alone. Luckily we got better at FaceTime and Zoom calls and things like that. And my other siblings that live out of state, we were able to do a weekly Zoom call as a family so that she could have some kind of interaction. But I really saw in her just a slight decline. And I want to say it was probably in the month of June. She recorded herself because she wouldn't even go out and walk. She used to walk and ride her bicycle, believe it or not, at 84 years old. And it was in the month of June. She was doing, this was really funny. She was marching around in her house. She had music playing and she was marching and twirling a baton, and she decided to video record that for us and sent that out to the siblings. And I realized that, yeah, she's starting to get a little cuckoo now, of being tied up, so to speak, and being away from everything, that she really needed to start having some kind of interactions. And so now she's been better now about letting us come visit her more frequently, and she's been leaving her house a little bit more frequently, but she's been really good about staying, quarantined, so to speak. And I think a lot of our seniors have done the same thing. And when the time comes, when they feel more comfortable to come out, I really feel like the services that WizeCove is working on providing and everything, and that's why we felt like NAP and WizeCove would work well together, because we've been providing a lot of these educational opportunities for our professionals, but now we're branching out into the family type services, and that's where the relationship will be really well fit, I believe. Resources that we have available too is we have a weekly e-blast, we call it. It's an email that comes out every single Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time that keeps our members abreast on any national trends or any topics of issue or anything like that. And we have also been able to allow for articles of interest to be in there. So we've had a lot of people have really stepped up during the pandemic and offered a lot of free services. And so we wanted to be sure that everybody had access to that as well. So even if you don't want to join NAP, you can certainly go on our website and join our mailing list and receive these weekly e-blasts every Monday. Some of the things will be like password protected, so you won't be able to have access to everything, but at least it'll give you ideas of what we're doing as well along the way. One of the other things that we have available under the membership tab is our activity toolbox, we call it. And that is filled with printable in-services or resource articles, innovative activity ideas, and monthly programming ideas, as well as activity forms. That if you're looking for a form that you can use, like a spiritual assessment form or something like that, it's available there in the toolbox as well. And that is a huge library of information too that has continued to be available. But one of the things that we did too when the pandemic began is we created another tab for COVID-19 resources. And that is where you'll find that's all free and available to everybody. Links and other things of options that people are offering throughout the pandemic. And most of those things are still functioning now. We've put in like ideas to how to do Hanukkah during the pandemic, and it started with Passover. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Mayim Bialik. I always mispronounce her name. Blossom. She was Blossom. I really dated myself there. She was on The Big Bang Theory, right? So she even has a new show coming out. I think it's called Cat, where she runs a cat cafe or anything like that. But she is very outspoken Jewish, and she did during Passover, she did these YouTube videos that were like 15 to 30 minutes long on how to celebrate Passover in a pandemic. And they were so fun. And so we shared those with our Jewish communities and our members of the Jewish faith, individuals that we worked with. And they were a lot of fun. And she had planned to do them at Hanukkah time, but I never saw them come out. So I don't know if she got busy with other things happening, but just things like that, things that are available that you wouldn't think about, how to do these things during this time frame. The other thing that we provide too is we have a helpline where it's an email answer service where you can go on and email us and we will respond to you within 24 hours, sometimes with even in an hour, depending on what time of the day it is. But we want to be sure that we can answer any questions right away. The other thing we have available too is a job board. So if you're looking for somebody, and you want to post a job on it, it's free to post, and it will be posted for 30 days. So if you need to extend it after 30 days, you can let us know and we will keep it up for the amount of time that you need it to be. And then we also have a shop on there for books that are available for purchase. We have a couple of a policy and procedure manual. We have, how to run volunteer programs that meet all the levels of care too, depending on the level of care. Volunteer programs, resident councils, which is a really popular resource that can be available for individuals as well. And also like a book about the profession. And then for those individuals that are needing to become certified, they do have to take a national exam. And so we have a preparation book available there too for them to access or purchase if they're preparing to take the national exam. So, one of the things that we really wanted to be sure of is that we establish those core competencies that I talked about before that help to meet the local, state, and federal needs that you have. Also, we have those professional standards of practice, and we want to be sure that we provide for everyone the most current information regarding whatever is happening. So like, of course, when the pandemic started, there were some changes to the federal regulations to support that. Obviously, we had to cancel group activities. The dining room was closed, the doors were closed, no volunteers could come in, no beauty shops, anything like that. All of those non-essential functions were deemed non-essential, and therefore they were removed. And so they had to make some changes to the compliance. So that's where we wanted to be sure our members were aware of what the changes are. And then they also rolled out back in July the 4-point plan for you to be able to reopen your community. And of course, that just keeps getting, put back on the back burner because we try to reopen and then, COVID comes in. And so we have to be really cautious with that. Until we can get that vaccine out more, it'll be important to do that. Another thing that, other opportunities that can happen then is we have created some national councils and other boards that individuals could serve on, and advocating for evidence-based practices. This has been one of the big things that we've been working on, is writing white papers with other organizations and affiliations that help us to show the benefits of activities, because everybody likes to see research, right? We all want to see that research, and that takes a lot of time. And one of the projects that we're working on that I'll just share with you briefly is we are working with the University of Tennessee with their astro aeronautical department. They are working on creating a robot that will help individuals that have dementia. So it's a kind of a cool thing, to work on. So we've been working with the professor and the research students there. And we did, one of the things I didn't mention yet was that we also offer a Facebook Live every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And so we had them on our Facebook Live where they talked about what they're doing with this robot and where they are in the process of it. And so they're still at the beginning stages of it, but they're going to keep us abreast of every time, something big happens, we're going to know about it. And how exciting it is to see that even individuals that don't work in healthcare are seeing where they need to go to benefit individuals that are living with dementia. And I think that's really a cool thing, to think about a robot that can help you out, as we get to that.
So what does the robot do?
So it's going to help them with tasks around the house, and it's going to help them, it's kind of like, it's almost like Siri or Echo or Amazon, where you can have, or Alexa, but it'll be in a format of a person, so to speak.
Okay, so like turn on my lights and it walks over and it turns on your lights, kind of thing.
Yeah. It'll be neat to see that happening. Plus, it'll keep them safe, living longer in their own home too. Well, that's the goal, right? We want them to do that. So one of the few things I want to share with you too is what our values are, so that where we stand. That we really want to be sure that the quality of the people that we work with is quality is number one. That's the key thing there. That's the primary reason of our services, just to provide quality. And, we have a very diverse group of members, which is really important for us too, to focus on that diversity and making sure that individual needs are being met, not just for our professionals, but for the people that they work with, that they serve too, because we know that cultures and educational backgrounds and everything is different. We're all different individuals, but learning how to work with that different cultural background too will be successful as well. And one of the things that we created, especially, last year, not just the pandemic, but all the Black Lives Matter movement and all the other cultural things that occurred, we created a cultural competency committee or council, so to speak. And so one of the things they're working on is being sure that the cultural diversity needs, not only of our members, but of the people we serve, are really looked at in a better limelight too. And so that's been a really great project that NAP has been working on to ensure that. And one of the first things that's been done is there's been a scholarship that's been created for educational opportunities for people of a different cultural background. We've, not just individuals that are African American, but from all the different cultures. One of the things that we have learned, is that a lot of new activity professionals are from Egypt, they're from the Philippines, they're from Nigeria, they're from Europe. And so they come in here into our country, our the United States, and they don't know a lot of the cultural things that we do. It's just like, if you moved from, say you lived in India, I lived in Indiana for many years and then I moved to Las Vegas, that's a cultural change right there. And so just knowing though the differences between the two and being able to focus more on it will make it more successful as well. So I think that's really important that we see how vital cultural diversity needs and the values of that should be done. We've also really want to, support research. This is one of the key things. I've already talked about that too, but we really want to be sure that the research is done so that we have those evidence-based practices available to show why activities, why social engagement, and why, that social model of care needs to be better followed. One of the things that I can tell you, as we've also, developed an international relationship, and I know that's on here, international level, to promote professional standards. And we have an international development director that's on our board of directors, and she works exclusively with just all the other countries. And we've been working with Australia and New Zealand and China and Japan and England. And we just started working with Ireland. We just found, and France, and of course Canada. And we're working on trying to be sure that the social model of care is really followed. And I can tell you, the United States is the only country that focuses so heavily on the medical model of care. Mm-hmm. And it's really frustrating, as our international development director, she's been working with these other countries, and she gets so frustrated because the other countries have so many other things that they're doing socially for the clients that are in the long-term living communities. And it's sad, there's so many other benefits that look at that social model of care. And so that's one of the things that we've been really trying to advocate more for, is to ensure that that social model of care is really looked at in a better limelight than it has ever been, and that's our goal too, is to kind of change the mind of our medical professionals to really focus more on that social model of care. So I just wanted to share with you the principles of our code of ethics as well. And knowing that we have confidentiality, fidelity, autonomy, we want to be sure that our residents stay autonomous as much as they can. One of the big things that we advocate for on a regular basis too, is to ensure that resident reaches their highest practicable level of living. And so doing that, we want to be sure that they have as much autonomy as they can, and focusing on that. And then our standards of practice are really looking at the quality of programming, participation, interventions with engagement, care planning and documentation for the higher levels of care. They need to have those in place, qualifications, ethics, and quality management and administration, as well as professionalism. Those are key things that the standards of practice really focus on and look at. So here's our information with the website. If anybody has any questions now, we can certainly talk about those. And
yeah, we did have a couple of questions come in.
Great.
So one of them was, do you still have conferences, which we did talk about. You're not this year going to do an in-person conference. You're spreading that over a period of time. Do you have to be a member to attend your conference?
No, you do not. You do not need to be a member. And no, Matthew, I just saw your question come in. They are not, we rotate our conferences everywhere. But I will tell you right now, the reason why we're going back to Minnesota next year is because that was the only way we could, float our contract. So we will be in Minnesota. Next year because of that. And, we didn't want to have a big loss. And the same thing, our conference in 2020 was supposed to be in Reno, Nevada. And so luckily we were able to float our contract with them too. So sadly we have to go back to these places, but realistically we didn't go to them to begin with. But no, we like to travel. We've divided the country up into 4 quadrants. And so we rotate every year between those quadrants. Like we were in South Carolina before we were going to be in Reno. We've been in Dallas, Texas. We've been in Ohio. We were in Columbus and Cincinnati a couple different times. We've been in Pennsylvania. We were just in Philadelphia a few years back, Denver, Colorado. We've been to Seattle, San Diego. Yeah, so we just go around that. And so we try to rotate throughout the country because we know, sometimes travel can be expensive.
You had said that your membership is $75 a year. Is that per person or per organization?
So that is a per person membership, but we also have organizational membership. So like if you're a corporation and you have multiple people you want to join, we have discounts for that we can talk about more for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like it to be individual because of the access that the individuals need to have on there, and with the passwords and everything like that, we try to keep it individualized.
Yep. We do it the same way at WizeCove. Sabrina was asking, will you have more resources that may support senior centers in the future and adult day health caregivers?
Yes, that is something we've been working on over the last couple of months. This is another reason why we wanted to partner with WizeCove, so that we could share those resources with each other and network together as well. And then our president, Amy Laughlin, she lives in South Carolina, she is working with the adult day healthcare organizations right now to get that going as well. So yes, Sabrina, that's coming forth. Like I said, we've been so focused on skilled nursing for 35 years. And so it's been taking time for bringing in those newer resources that are desperately needed. Yes.
And then Sabrina also asked, do you have to be a member to access the helpline and job postings that you mentioned?
You do not. On the website, we have job board. It's one of the tabs at the top, and you can click on it and upload whatever information you need to have there. And then our helpline is available to anybody. 100%. No membership needed.
That's great. Anyone else have any questions? I was taking notes, and so I was going to see if I had any. I liked you talking about the social model of care, especially with senior centers. That is such a huge part of what we do. Is being social is a lot of preventative type work, and I have run into so many barriers with funders because there's not enough evidence around these social models, because no one has been doing research there. All of the research has been happening around the health stuff, and so that's one of the things that we're working really hard with WizeCove and our partners. We have a bunch of university partners that just got on board, and exciting to work down some of those pipelines.
Am I able to put a file in the chat box? Do you know, Marie?
Yeah, I believe you can. I also need to share that handout that you gave me. So that's there now. So when you go to the chat, there should be a black plus sign at the bottom. So you click that black plus sign, and then you can add a resource.
So it looks like I was able to do that.
Great.
So this is the most recent white paper. This just actually is hot off the press yesterday. So I wanted to share it with everybody. This is Link Senior, is one of our partners that we work with. And if you're on Facebook, we have a Facebook group called #ActivitiesStrong. This was developed back in April too, when this all went down. And so this was this Link Senior white paper just is, like I said, hot off the press yesterday. And this was some research we did through that I wanted to share with everybody. So good. I just got this yesterday afternoon. That's why I couldn't get it to you earlier. So you're all getting it. You're all getting it now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions?
I'm just going to type in my email address as well, so
Great.
anybody can get a hold of me. I'm the one that moderates the helpline, so if you don't get it here and you use the helpline, you'll be talking to me anyway. So it's always good. It's always good to have that.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you so much for being one of our WizeCove partners. You have been providing excellent information and resources and additional partners for us as well. So I just really have been enjoying this partnership. So
well, thank you everyone for your time today. I know time is always of the essence, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully it was worthwhile.
All right. Everybody is welcome to join us again tomorrow. We're going to have Second Wind Dreams sharing about the services that they provide.
And let me just say, I love Second Wind Dreams. I worked with them for years, so I'm so excited they're going to be presenting with you now.
Love their work. We were slated to do one of their virtual dementia tours, and then the pandemic happened and we couldn't. And so I turned that into a partnership instead, because I really feel like so many people need to know about this work that they're doing. So yeah.
Are you going to have PK Bevel, or who do you have coming?
Laura and Sarah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Sabrina said I worked with PK too.
Yeah, she's great. Well, Sabrina's in Georgia, so they're just like around the corner from each other.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Very true. Well, that'll be a good one. You guys will enjoy that one for sure.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.